Good afternoon all, my name is Arnold Denes. It is an absolute pleasure to be here with you today at this first Paris TEDxIHE talk. So, today I would like us to push away these walls and ceiling. Let's embark on a journey to faraway lands, meet interesting people, have exciting adventures, unlock the mysteries to achieving our business goals, and hopefully come back in one piece. Travel. Adventure. As long as I can remember, I've always wanted to go places. When I was 4 years old, my father asked me, "Son, what would you like to do when you grow up?" To which I said without the slightest hesitation, "I'll board a spaceship with my teddy bear and go to America." Well, we are in 2015 and spaceships are still not the preferred intercontinental transportation. But I have been to America and many other places, albeit without my teddy bear. So, travel is actually extremely important in my life. And over the 20 years that I have traveled for business, I've met people who were just amazing, who enriched me so much, and to whom I'll be forever grateful. These experiences are also made of lots of lessons learned and of near misses, which made me aware of just how much sometimes I was willing to put at stake for the sake of a business deal. Just watch the daily news and you'll hear that an expatriate was kidnapped for ransom, that a plane went down with hundreds on board, political turmoil, Ebola. This is not a world you want to venture into unprepared. And hopefully when it comes to preparation, your employers will be helping too. And a 2015 PwC study says they have every reason to. By 2020, the number of mobile employees is supposed to increase by 50%. And I'm pretty sure that among you, most of you are already part of the business traveler community, or will be soon. So let's take a few minutes to talk about this often underestimated link in the chain of our professional lives, travel. As far as I'm concerned, I've always been working and traveling abroad, well, legally, or so I thought. In 2007, I received exciting news. I was to lead a 6-month project in Thailand, my first time ever in the Kingdom of Smiles. On arrival at Suvarnabhumi Airport, I got my passport stamped with a 30 days tourist visa and happily made my way to the office. Every month thereon, my employer would ask me to go for a business meeting abroad, or would tell me to go spend the weekend in another country, paid for by the company. Wasn't that great? But after a while, these monthly trips started to become a bit tedious. They interrupted my work in Bangkok or made me spend the weekend away from Thailand. And frankly, when you already live in a tourist paradise, why go anywhere else on the weekend? So I started asking questions. And what I learned spooked me. Not only was I not supposed to work on a tourist visa in Thailand, the total duration of my stay was limited too. I was risking a hefty fine and even jail time in a Thai prison. Believe me, when compared with the cheapest backpacker hotel, Thai jails are 5-star resorts. So naturally, a bit concerned, I went to my boss and I asked him, "Hey boss, I just learned that I was risking prison time for working on a tourist visa here. I need a work permit." To which he answered, "Arnold, you worry too much, huh? Take it easy, only expats need a work permit." Later, I found out that the company simply didn't want to pay for an additional work permit. And that's all it was about, money in the end. So, luckily, hopefully when your time to travel comes, you will think about all these aspects and also prepare the trip from a medical and security point of view. Hopefully with the help of your employer. Luckily, some companies are already ahead of the game and work today with medical and travel security providers. For example, International SOS, a leading organization in the field, says that 76% of the 4 million calls received every year by their assistance centers are for information before or during a trip. The result? Better prepared travelers and fewer failed international assignments, with repatriation cases accounting for less than 3% of all the cases managed. Today, if a situation like Thailand would happen again, I would refuse to go, very simply. My employer would need to find someone else with similar experience and qualification, which could delay the project by a few months. And I'd tell my friends about it, denting his reputation in the process. So all in all, the total cost of that failed assignment would by far exceed the cost of a work permit, I promise you. Another time, another place. Dubai, the Emirates. The land of amazing urban architecture and custom supercars. I went to Dubai for the first time in September 2009 for a week. I was actually managing my own company back then, and an Emirati business partner had arranged for client meetings. When the plane doors opened, early morning, after a 6 hours night flight, the heat and 90% humidity wave hit me like a wall. It certainly woke me up. And now that I was fully awake, I was really looking for two things: a hot cup of coffee and a couple of eggs sunny side up to get the day started. My business partner met me at the airport, which I thought was very nice of him. We immediately jumped into his car, drove to his office, and met our first client there. Shortly after, we went for the second client meeting, then a third. Noon came, and I hadn't had eggs, sunny side up or otherwise. And the hot cup of coffee, well, it had remained an idea, see, floating in front of me like a desert mirage. Coffee. And water, not a drop to drink either. Well, the time of the year was Ramadan, you see. Yes. And although my partner knew very well that I was not a Muslim, when I inquired discreetly about food and drink, he was very prompt to thank me oh so much for respecting the local tradition by not having anything to eat or drink until sunset. Well, I thought, this is going to be an interesting day, especially knowing that I was there to showcase a heat-reflective paint outdoors. So I quickly ran a self-assessment scan, and I thought, okay, I had worked in Africa before, so I could adjust to hot weather. I wasn't at my ideal weight, so I knew I had reserves to draw upon. But most importantly, I knew that I had a slow metabolism, which meant that I probably wouldn't feel weak or risk fainting if not eating or hydrating regularly. Otherwise, the situation could have looked dramatically different. All in all, after the initial surprise, the week went well. I did like the locals do. But when I came back, a bit leaner, I couldn't help thinking, maybe I should have had a medical check done before departure to make sure I'd be okay being outdoors by such a climate. My point here is, as the ancient Greek saying goes, know thyself, but make sure that you get a health checkup done before embarking on an overseas journey. A study by consultancy firm Prevent actually calculated that every single euro spent in prevention saved 2.2 euro in medical bills, and even more, of course, if repatriation was needed. So anticipating not only keeps you in good health, it also makes good business sense for your employers. So I've mentioned legal and medical issues, but what about safety? Well, this year, American Express released a study saying that for all their corporate clients, traveler safety and security came second in the list of their top priorities. And among all the risks that we face when we travel abroad, which one do you think is the greatest? Well, it's exactly the same we face right here at home, the road. I'm happy to say that I've been driving for 23 years now in Europe, the US, Africa, Asia, without being involved, could you believe it, in a single road accident. Touch wood. But when my employer told me to go meet clients for the first time in Chennai, India, I got a bit nervous. The country, I looked it up, ranked number 1 for deaths in road traffic accidents. So luckily then, I was already working for a company that specialized in mitigating risk for business travelers. A couple of months before, they actually launched an active tracking service that they incorporated into the internal travel security policy. So which meant that before embarking on a trip to a high-risk destination, we had to be briefed on the country before departure, and we need to actually activate a tracking app on our smartphones to make sure that they knew where we were. Also, when road safety was a concern, we were required to have a local driver. So, I arrived in Chennai at nightfall. I thought, briefing before departure, check. Keep the mobile phone of your driver with you, check. Tracking app running and working well, check. I was feeling reasonably confident. What I didn't expect is that my first challenge would be to find the driver. I mean, I exited the airport by the correct door, only to find myself facing a wall of perfectly trimmed moustaches. Now, which one was mine? So I was really happy that I was advised to keep the driver's mobile phone number with me. I called him and we met an hour later. Why the hour? Well, it's the time I spent on the phone trying to locate him. Because to avoid queuing with the others, he was waiting for me at domestic arrivals rather than international. In the end, we found each other, and I couldn't help thinking, okay, but I'm already an hour late and I haven't even left the terminal. So then we embarked on a 2-hour trip by night on unlit roads filled with pedestrians, buses, tricycles, motorbikes, all sorts of vehicles. We ran even more late, obviously, on account of driving slowly to avoid collisions and to give others a chance to avoid us too. The driver, luckily, was a real pro and doing great. But what also reassured me were the regular phone calls that I kept receiving from our travel security team as I systematically failed to show up on time at pre-agreed waypoints. Hello, sir. How are things going? Are you still on the right track? Yes, we're just running a bit late. Sorry, a motorbike carrying a piece of railroad track missed us by this much. So, when I think back today to all these adventures, I sometimes realize how lucky I am to be still alive and in one piece despite the mileage. I also realize that if something had gone wrong at any point, not only would I have had to face legal and medical consequences, but my employer's responsibility would have been on the line too. And what about small businesses? When managing my company, if something had happened to me, the business would have closed down for sure. What I have learned from all these travels for business is that first and foremost, we remain the person responsible for our health and safety. No matter how legislation evolves, no matter how well employers take care of their employees, in the end, it's up to us to ask the right questions and get the support that we need. Chances are, when planning for your next business trip, you'll be thinking about the plane ticket, booking the right hotel, mobile phone charges. Just don't get overexcited by the prospect of traveling for work. Make sure you prepare that trip also from a medical and safety side together with your employers. Because after all, it's your lives in the balance, isn't it? Thank you very much.